Hey folks, welcome to my weekly live stream. I'm Christine Weber. I love supporting mature yoga teachers getting their wisdom out there into the world. And what I've been doing for the past 8 years really is retraining teachers to work with the populations that are actually the biggest growing populations for yoga, which are 65 and older folks. Every day, 10,000 people turn 65 in the US, and more people are looking for ways that they can work, use practices that help them find ways to increase agency and manage their chronic conditions better. And yoga is a great way to do that. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about using the breath in asana practice. Recently, I was asked this question. Let me see, I'll read you the question here. I've got it here. So the question was, I need my glasses. I'm curious about the breath ratios, when to do them and how much to do them, and the benefits of holding, and how to cue students without them holding their breath uncomfortably. Such a good question. So I thought I would address that today. So if you're not trained in a specific breath-centric technique, that is what I really focus on. And the breath is one of the most important ways you can get into the autonomic nervous system. There's some interesting things developing in neurology with the eyes too. However, the breath is an integral part of the yoga practice. And when we learn how to use it in very specific ways, we can have profound effects on the nervous system that are not only beneficial in the short term, but have long-term benefits, long-term advantages when you learn how to do it. So first thing we have to break down is that there are 4 parts of your breath. There's an inhale and an exhale, but there's a pause after your inhale, a natural one, and there's a pause after your exhale, also a natural one. And oftentimes we don't notice them. Now, breathing practices are not meant to be done 24/7. Breathing practices are things you practice, maybe for 15 minutes or a half an hour on a daily basis, and they have an overall balancing effect on the autonomic nervous system. But that's one of the first things to keep in mind is you're not supposed to breathe like that 24/7. Obviously, that would not be good. The second thing I want to say is that breathing practices need to be very carefully applied, particularly if there's any pathology, any kind of heart disease, migraine headaches. There's a COPD. What does it say for? Cardiac obstructive pulmonary disorder. I'm getting a chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, COPD, and numerous other pathology. So you want to make sure that a person is cleared from their physician before they do breathing practices. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then secondly, I would suggest that there is no breath holding in yoga. There's no breath holding in yoga. And you'll hear teachers say that from various lineages. Never hold your breath in yoga. Breath holding is very different than pausing your breath. So when you hold your breath, the epiglottis closes, right? And there's a pressure that builds up in the system. That's not what we do with breath pauses at all. With breath pauses, there's an inhale, the epiglottis stays open, and it just feels like more breath is coming in until you're ready to exhale. So it's a much gentler process. You're not increasing interthoracic or interabdominal pressure with the breath pause. A little bit, maybe in the head, you have to be careful with that. Another contraindication may be cervical spine injuries. So there's a lot of contraindications. You want to be careful with them, but also you never want to hold your breath. And the same is true with the exhale. So when you exhale, the end of the exhale is just like a little lingering feeling before you breathe in again. And that's also important. So you're not pushing the breath out and then, this is intensity that's building up. Another pranayama guideline that's really helpful is never push your breath. So breathing practices should always feel really comfortable. Now, when you combine breathing with different postures, for example, an axial extension posture where the spine's getting longer, or a lateral flexion posture, when you combine the inhale with those postures, or a back bend posture, when you're combining the inhale with it and certain special adaptations, like for example, a pause for 1 or 2 or 3 counts, what that does is catalyze the effect of the posture. The posture is already, that posture, straight spine, lateral bend, or extension spine, that posture is already lending itself to increasing or nurturing energy, which is called Brmhana in the Ayurvedic and Yoga Chikitsa, yoga therapy traditions. It's already lending itself to nurturing energy, building energy, right? And then you sprinkle in a little breath pausing sequence, which is usually like you'll do 1 pause, maybe 2, maybe 3 during repetitions. That's when you really catalyze the effects of the pose. It's really powerful and really be able to work with the nervous system in a much clearer and more distinct and specific way than just like do a lot of hard poses really hard and breathe heavy. Like that is so different than really training your nervous system with breath pauses. Now, the same can be said about the exhale. So the inhale and the pause after the inhale tend to be Brmhana. The exhale and the pause after the exhale tend to be more down regulating to the nervous system and increasing, increasing those parasympathetic activity, increasing that relaxation activity. So poses like forward bends, they lend themselves not only to the exhale, but the pause after the exhale. And also poses like, a simple twist, lend themselves to exhaling, long exhales and pauses after the exhale. So you're combining those twists, you're combining the forward bends with specific breathing patterns, and you create more of a Langhana effect. So it's a science, really. There's nothing random about it. I see so much random yoga taught all over the internet, and a lot of it is like, creative sequencing, and it's really just kind of choreography dance. It doesn't have anything to do with these very therapeutic principles, which have been around for a long time, but just maybe aren't marketed that well. I don't know, or maybe they're too complicated. I don't know what it is, but they should be out there more than they are. And part of what I hope to do, what I've been doing for many years, about 8 years now, is retraining yoga teachers, because most yoga teachers aren't taught in this sophisticated science. And just by learning a little bit of it, it can really significantly change the way that you experience yoga and the way that you teach it and your students experience it. So I invite you to check out my work, subtleyoga.com, or you can look at subtleyogaresiliencesociety.com, where I get into more specifics. That's my membership group. I get into more specifics about this stuff. And also I have a workshop coming up April 18th called Teaching Chair and Mat Classes with Clarity and Confidence, or maybe it's Confidence and Clarity. Anyway, it's a workshop. We have a sale going on right now on that workshop, early bird special, I should say, until Saturday afternoon. So that might be something you want to join me for. Thank you so much for being here today. I'd love it if you would leave a comment, and I'll be back next week. Take care.